So what I think I've heard from both of you is, as Adal said, in Niger, in his Tuareg culture, which is thousands of years old, sees themselves as guardians of the earth, and that Kathy is what I heard is that the Mother Earth is alive, and Mother Earth and the solar system and the cosmos are alive, and I'll add a word, ensouled, and that we are obligated as citizens of the planet to be guardians of the earth. And Kathy's culture is thousands of years old as well. Um, and we have an amazing opportunity to compare and contrast two indigenous cultures on the opposite side of the world, Adal being in Niger and Kathy being in, in the southwest of the United States. And so I think I would ask both of you, militarism and the culture of violence feel exactly the opposite of seeing the earth and the cosmos as sacred and ensouled. And so, if I understand correctly, Niger is a uranium mine for the French nuclear power industry. Can you talk about how militarism and extractive mining have affected what you hold sacred in Niger, Adal?
Thank you, Mark. I think I would like to add one precision on how we define ourselves. Um, Actually, the usually we consider ourselves as a bridge between the North Africa and the Sub-Saharan Africa, and are those who master the Sahara and who spend thousands of years knowing how to survive in it. Um, for us, militarism and more precisely the colonial era and still neo-colonial aspect of it break such balance. And we end up not being the bridge we are built to be, and feeling also that the knowledge we have in how to survive difficulties and struggles are now getting lost because the Tuareg people end up being refugees around the area and leaving their motherland in some sense. And yes, the uranium that France used to build nuclear weapons is from my own region, and its effects are visible everywhere. The only one the system tried to make invisible is the people from there. And I think that's something very important. Invisible by many ways. First of all, because we are a nomadic people. So the way people understand the right of lands does not necessarily apply to us because we are in a permanent movement. We do not think that you own a land by only building a building on it. You own it because you can share it. And I remember that I used to have this conversation with my friend from other parts, more sedentary people. And I used to tell them that we are built to believe that everywhere can be home because there is not a single part of it that we keep for ourselves alone. We consider land and territories as something that we are supposed to share.
Yeah, and I think that's held against us now with that thought that we don't own the land. So then the US system says, well, then if you don't own it, then we have a right to it. Because you can't prove on paper that you own it, or where does it say that your great grandfather, was planting over here when you don't have anything to prove it. So even as cultural people within ourselves, it's the US systems have come into the psyche of people here, and so it's dividing people up. It's like now it's and yeah, we were also mobile, winter homes and summer homes, so that structurally, they're saying, well, you weren't here, you left. And now even where our ancestors were doing their farming or their living, that's they say, well, you're deceased, you're living over there, but you don't have life over here. So it's like it's just by definition of who is going to be in control with what kind of definitions or vocabulary or systems they have. But in the soulfulness of who we are, we are wanting to maintain our our ways of being and coming from the heart and coming from different ways of knowing that balance, knowing the natural laws, knowing how if you leave it alone, the balancing, the perpetuity of the motion of the energy is going to be invested back into the continuation of life. And so you don't want to lose all your energy strength fighting against the industry because they're going to win on paper and on the control of the death. I mean, death is their tool. So if we're about living and loving and having life as our life-givingness for Mother Earth and all relations, but if the other culture of violence is their tool, their power is death. So how do we deal with the continual taking of life and the mental separation of your soulfulness and your bodily present? So wherever you move or be, you're still you. If you have your ancestral connections of that sense of belonging, I think that's what the search is now for a lot of people that are generations into the United States. They were deliberately taken off the land. They were put into a melting pot and told, this is your culture now. And yet they still have that struggle of identity and a longing to know who they are.